When we talk about chemistry in media, what's the default image that pops into your head?
Oh, it's always visual.
It's almost always visual, isn't it? You picture, I don't know, movie stars on the red carpet.
Right, looking at each other in a certain way. Or sitcom actors who have that perfect timing.
Exactly. That spark you can actually see. We're just, we're conditioned to think of chemistry as something we observe.
It's the eye contact bias.
Yeah.
We trust what we see. We're looking for
Yeah.
micro expressions, body language, all that stuff.
But today we're flipping that script completely. We're looking at a phenomenon where the chemistry is uh, purely auditory.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it. Well, not unless you physically show up at the station, which we'll get to, but you can hear it.
And that auditory chemistry has somehow built a level of superstardom you'd expect for, like, primetime television actors.
Or K-pop idols, yeah. It's a fascinating case study in the power of voice.
And personality. And I think, perhaps most importantly, resilience. It really forces you to ask, is the voice more intimate than the face?
That is the question. Today we are diving deep into the world of karjack.
A name that, I gotta say, sounds a little aggressive.
Like a heist movie or something.
Yeah, exactly. But for millions of listeners, it just means comfort. It's the portmanteau for the Filipino radio tandem of Gandain Cara and Papa Jackson.
And we have a stack of sources here that is just, it's incredible. We're looking at a decade-long chronicle of their careers.
We've got analysis of their broadcasting style, the legal nitty-gritty of a huge station transfer.
A transfer that really shook up the industry and reports on a fandom that is, frankly, intense.
So our mission today is to deconstruct that intensity. We want to figure out how a radio duo maintained what people call unbreakable chemistry for 9 years.
And how do you survive a dramatic station transfer where you literally lose your own name?
Right, and build that TV-level fan base in a medium that, people have been saying is dying for 20 years.
It's that old video killed the radio star narrative.
But in reverse.
Here, the radio star didn't just survive, they won.
Emphatically. And it wasn't an accident. It was a combination of strategy, talent, and some very difficult choices.
Okay, so let's get into the timeline. Because to understand where they are now, you have to understand the Great Migration. This whole story starts at a station called Lab Radio.
Right. And a crucial piece of context here, which the sources really emphasize, is that karjack wasn't some manufactured product.
It wasn't put together in a boardroom.
No. You know how in pop music a producer might say, okay, you sing high, you sing low, you look good together, boom, we have a band.
The classic boy band formula, manufactured synergy.
Exactly. That didn't happen here. Both Gandain Cara and Papa Jackson, they carved out their own spaces individually first. They were solo acts.
Which I think is the first key insight. They were strong on their own.
They had their own segments, their own distinct styles, their own followings, before they ever even sat in a booth together.
So the partnership was a choice, not a crutch. They didn't need each other to survive. They chose each other to thrive.
Precisely. And the name karjack was just a fan-driven mashup. Car from Cara, Jack from Papa Jack.
Simple.
Very simple. But the real story, the thing that tested this brand and proved it wasn't just a fluke, starts with a corporate conflict at Lab Radio.
This is where the story shifts from just radio hosts doing well to a whole lesson on integrity.
And product placement, in a way.
This part of the research really stood out to me. We have to talk about day parting.
Day parting, yes. It's the holy grail of radio programming. It's the whole strategy of matching the host's energy to the listener's day. And Papa Jack, as he was known then, he owned the evening slot.
The night owl shift.
Yes. And just think about the psychology of a listener at, say, 9 p.m. or 11 p.m.
The day is over. The noise has faded.
You're tired, maybe a little lonely, reflective. You're vulnerable.
It's the time for confessions. It's when you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about that argument you had or the person you miss.
Correct. It's an intimate domain. And Papa Jack built his entire career on being that voice in the dark, giving advice, listening to heartbreaks.
But then, management at Lab Radio decided to shake things up.
They wanted to move his segment
To lunch.
to high noon.
Which is, it's just insanity if you think about the energy mismatch.
Totally.
Lunchtime is bright, it's chaotic, people are rushing around, your boss is emailing you.
You cannot do deep emotional advice while people are trying to eat a sandwich in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You just can't. The canvas is wrong.
And this is where we really see the character of the man behind the mic. The sources all highlight that he refused to compromise the craft.
He understood that the product wasn't just him talking. It was the context in which the listener heard him.
He argued that the evening slot was essential.
He basically said, I can't do my art in that time slot. It's like asking a jazz musician who plays smoky clubs to suddenly play a nursery rhyme at a daycare.
And when the station wouldn't budge?
He resigned. He walked away from a massive, stable show.
That is a huge risk, a huge gamble, especially in traditional media where those slots are so limited.
And it triggered a chain reaction. So he moves to a new station, NRG. But Gandankara didn't leave right away, did she?
No, and that's an important detail. We had a split.
Right. She stayed at Lab Radio, at least initially. So for a while, Karjack was effectively broken up. You had the two halves operating in different buildings, on different frequencies.
That must have been a weird time for the fans.
Like watching your parents live in different houses.
Yeah, you have to flip the dial back and forth to get the whole story.
But eventually the magnetic pull, or maybe the market opportunity, was too strong. Kara makes the jump to NRG, and the band is back together.
But this brings us to probably the most interesting business lesson in the sources, and it's all about intellectual property.
The name. This is the legal twist that usually kills careers.
It sounds so wild, but it's true.
Most people don't realize that in media, you often don't own your own name. The station owns the persona.
And Papa Jack was a registered trademark of Lab Radio.
Exactly. So even though the human being moved to NRG, he was legally barred from calling himself Papa Jack.
Imagine that. You spend years building a reputation, millions of people know you by one name, and suddenly using it is a lawsuit.
That's usually a career killer. It creates this disconnect for the audience.
Yeah.
Who is this new guy? He sounds like the old guy, but it's confusing.
It dilutes the brand equity, is what it does.
It should. But he rebranded. He became Papa Jackson. A subtle shift, adding the son, but a necessary one.
And here's the data point that changes everything. The listeners didn't care.
Not at all.
They followed him. And they kept calling the duo Karjack.
That's the key takeaway. The Karjack name stuck, even though the Jack part had legally morphed into Jackson.
It proved the brand wasn't the title on the contract.
No, the brand was the human connection. The listeners were loyal to the people, not the station ID.
It really exposes the limits of corporate control over talent. You can own the trademark, but you can't own the relationship.
Perfectly put.
Yeah.
And speaking of that relationship, let's talk about why people are so obsessed. We've mentioned the chemistry, but the sources have a specific cultural term for it.
The away bait dynamic.
Yes. Away bait.
Okay, for our listeners who might not be familiar with Tagalog, let's break that down. Away means fight or conflict.
And bait means to reconcile or make peace.
So it's the fight-reconcile dynamic.
It's a cycle. Playful arguments, sharp banter, sometimes genuine disagreement, and then it's followed by them making up and laughing it off.
Now, on paper, that sounds kind of stressful. If I said, hey, listen to this show where two people argue for an hour, you'd probably say, no thanks, I get enough of that at home. Why does it work here?
It's all about the intent. The sources describe it as an authentic push and pull. If you look at scripted media, like love teams in movies,
Oh yeah, the conflict is so manufactured.
it's melodramatic, it feels artificial, written for a plot point. Okay, in episode 3, they need to have a misunderstanding about a text message.
Right, written in a boardroom to get ratings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with Karjack, the sources all say this is the anti-script. It works because it thrives on honesty.
It feels real.
It reflects a deep bond of friendship where you're comfortable enough to bicker because you know the foundation is solid. It's the difference between a toxic argument and, siblings roasting each other.
It's safe conflict. It's relatable. I mean, who hasn't bickered with their best friend or their partner about something silly? It feels like real life because it is real life.
Right.
And that reality creates this massive emotional investment.
Oh, massive. The sources mention something pretty startling about the audience reaction. Listeners will actually cry when there's tension on air.
That blew my mind. They aren't just listening for background noise. They are emotionally monitoring the status of this relationship.
They feel genuinely upset. The fans experience the show not just as a broadcast, but as a real-life saga they're living through.
So when Karjack is fighting, the fans are stressed. When they make up, the fans are relieved.
It's totally immersive. But you can't fake that. You can't just put two random DJs in a room and say, okay, now argue playfully.
It would sound forced immediately. Our ears are too good at detecting fake banter.
It requires a very specific alchemy of personalities.
Let's get into that alchemy. The sources break down the anatomy of the duo. It's a classic yin and yang. Let's start with Gandankara.
The sources describe Kara as the heartbeat of the show. She brings warmth, quick wit, and relatability. She's positioned as the voice of the listener.
So she's the avatar for the audience. She's us.
Exactly. She represents the audience's emotions. If a caller is telling a sad story, she's the one who's tearing up. If something is hilarious, she's the one laughing uncontrollably.
She makes the show feel approachable.
Open and natural, like your best friend who you can tell anything to.
And then on the other side, we have Papa Jackson. He's not the fun, bubbly one in the same way.
No, he's the anchor. He's described as the voice of reason. His role is to provide that straightforward, no-nonsense advice.
He cuts through the noise.
He's authoritative, but still empathetic. He provides the depth.
So she brings the emotion and the wit. He brings the grounding and the wisdom.
Precisely. If Kara is the kite, flying in the wind, reacting to every breeze, Jackson is the person holding the string, making sure it doesn't just fly away.
I like that visual. It explains why they don't clash destructively.
And the sources use this specific term for their interaction. They ajive.
A jive. It sounds like a dance step.
It implies a rhythm. It's not just coexisting, it's interlocking. The analysis suggests that this balance of trust and mutual respect is what sets them apart.
It's the perfect recipe. If you had two voices of reason, it would be a lecture.
So boring.
If you had two witty, emotional types, it might be just chaos.
Total chaos. Together they cover all the bases. And that synergy has created a fandom that is, frankly, perplexing if you look at it through a traditional media lens.
This is the part that really got me. We usually reserve this kind of fanaticism for people we see. Pop idols, movie stars.
People whose faces are on billboards.
Right, but these are radio DJs. You interact with them with your ears, and yet the fan behavior mirrors that of, like, pop star stans.
The sources mentioned fans hanging posters of Gandeng Kara in their rooms.
Which is such a visual act of devotion for an auditory medium. It shows a desire to make the invisible visible.
And it's not just that, they physically show up. In the age of streaming, where you can listen from anywhere, people are getting dressed, getting in their cars.
And going to the radio station.
The Friday nights phenomenon mentioned in the sources is wild. It's described as jam-packed, crowds filling the booth, spilling out into the hallways.
Just to witness the show live, it sounds like a concert. Or a pilgrimage.
It really is. And this isn't some new trend. This behavior dates all the way back to the lab radio days. It's long-term loyalty.
And they bring gifts. Food.
And money.
Wait, money?
It's a cultural gesture of appreciation. It's not a transaction. It's a relationship. It's like, you have fed my soul, so I want to feed you. It's deeply personal.
That is profound. And who are these people? Is it just teenagers?
That's another fascinating layer. It's not one demographic. It's cross-generational. You have millennials, you have Gen Z, but you also have seniors.
I love the idea of a grandmother and her Gen Z grandson both tuning in for the same reason.
Well, maybe not for the exact same reason. The seniors probably appreciate the wisdom, resonating with Papa Jackson's advice.
While the younger generations connect with the authenticity and the banter.
But they're both finding value in the same content.
Right.
And we can't forget the OFWs, the overseas Filipino workers.
A crucial demographic. For them, tuning in isn't just entertainment.
It's a lifeline. It's a connection to home.
That makes total sense. If you're working in Dubai or London and you're missing home, hearing that specific cultural away bait dynamic.
Hearing the language, hearing the laughter, it grounds them. It's the sound of home. It cuts through the loneliness.
It creates a virtual living room where everyone is welcome.
Exactly.
So you've got the history, the dynamic, the fans. We have to talk about the hardware, though, the awards. Because this isn't just some niche internet thing.
No, they are critically acclaimed. Consistently. The sources mention frequent wins for Best Female Radio DJ and Best Male Radio DJ.
Which validates it. This is industry recognition. Their peers are acknowledging the skill involved.
And we are looking at a 9-year milestone here. In today's media landscape, 9 years is an eternity.
Oh, for sure. Think about what didn't exist 9 years ago. TikTok, for one.
Streaming was totally different. The algorithm has changed 100 times. They've survived network shifts, format changes, personal struggles.
And the complete disruption of the media industry. And they're still standing.
The sources describe their legacy as timeless and a testament to endurance. They haven't just survived. They've adapted without losing who they are.
Okay, so what does this all mean? We've looked at the journey from lab radio to NRG, the name change, the away bait. If we zoom out, what is the core lesson here?
I think the core lesson is about the definition of a brand in the modern age. We often think a brand as a logo, a catchy name, a color palette.
The corporate assets, the things you can trademark.
Right. But the Karjack story proves that in an era of manufactured influencers and AI-generated content, The most powerful brand asset you can have is authenticity.
It's the relationship.
It is the relationship. The chemistry was the one constant variable.
Yeah.
Everything else changed. The station, the time slot, the legal names, but the relationship between the two of them and their relationship with the audience, that stayed.
It really goes to show that you can strip away all the bells and whistles, but if you have that genuine spark, people will follow you anywhere. It's uncopyable.
Authenticity is the one thing you cannot fake, and it's the one thing you cannot buy. And Karjack has it.
It's a great reminder for all of us consuming media. We get so caught up in the content, the flashy editing, the high production value, but often it's the human connection we're really craving.
Absolutely. We want to feel like we're part of the conversation.
So here's a question for you listening right now. Think about your favorite media personality, a podcaster, a YouTuber, anyone. If they changed their name tomorrow, moved to a platform you've never heard of, and completely rebooted their show, would you follow them?
That is the ultimate test of loyalty.
Do you follow the platform or do you follow the personality? If you're a Karjack fan, well, we already know the answer.
We certainly do.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
It's been a pleasure.